it feels like mobile is slowing down. According to your estimates, it hit 103 billion in 2025. That
Mm-hmm.
shows a little bit less than 3% growth. Who are the actual winners here? Is it the developers? Is it the platforms? Is it the payment intermediaries? Is it
Mm-hmm.
the tech tool financier companies?
Yeah.
What's your take on mobile? Manu, Rosier, Director of Market Intelligence from Newzoo. Welcome to the podcast. Let's start with the easy first question. So you released a massive 200-page Newzoo market report. I don't know if the free version was 200. The one that I got felt like it was a
Yeah.
little bit longer than a Bible. So can you just summarize what is going on in gaming in 2025?
Yeah, that's a challenging question when you have to summarize. Let's put it. Yes, there's 200 pages, but I think this year we try to focus on some specific special topics, special trends. But I would say in general, if you look at the market, I would say continuity is probably what's happening right now. Most of the metrics we see kind of the end of the COVID hangover that we felt from 22 to 24. We are now in 25 where we expect the market to actually beat the peak of the COVID time, which is a good news for the industry. I think there is more positive in the future year than maybe what we saw last year or the year before. So it's kind of a cautious optimism at this point. Things are still growing. Not everybody's winning, obviously. It's more about who's going to get the lottery ticket. Also, in a world where trend and hype can switch so quickly. So there's kind of a steady growth, but within this steady growth, there is a lot of uncertainty about who are going to be the winners of tomorrow.
Well, let's dive a little bit deeper. So I have about 10 different slides that I think are
Yep.
really interesting, and that demand your commentary. So
Yeah,
the first
absolutely.
one that I have here is something that you had in the report, and you say that 61.5% of the world's online population plays games in 2025. That's basically everyone with an internet access at this point. And so my question is, if gaming has already eaten culture, what's there left to conquer?
Well, that's why we're forecasting kind of a steady growth in terms of the total gamer population. I think we have come to a point. I like to do the analogy with the package versus digital. So there were years of massive growth of the digital share of video games. That's just that they replaced. But then at some point we came to a moment where the package share is going to be there. It's going to be 5-10% depending on the game. But there's not increase anymore because we filled kind of the tank of the digital share. And I think for the population, it's a bit the same. I'm kind of a older gamer. When I was young, I was the only generation playing video games. But now every generation is playing video games. So we've kind of kept filling the age band with players through the last 20 or 30 years. But we've come to a point with every age band is kind of playing video games already. So we don't have this organic growth as much as we had before. So that's why we see the market. It's not plateauing yet, but it's kind of reducing the growth rate at this point. Is it peak? I think there are still opportunities. One of the trends I like to highlight is that it's not only about the number of people actually playing video game, but it's about the engagement of each individual and each player. And what we see is that the playtime keeps growing. So even if the number of players don't grow that much, at least the players are playing more. And there are a few enablers for that. The Gen Alpha, I have 2 kids, so I see them. They are multi-screen multiple entertainment screen users. They watch a podcast. No, they listen to a podcast. They watch a YouTube video, and they play at the same time. So there's kind of, instead of having 24 hours of screen time per day, you almost can double or triple that because they are able to do things in parallel, which means naturally you don't reduce your playtime because you're watching more videos, but you just combine the two. So that's one of the things that we see. Some of the device also allow you to extend your playtime. So the Steam Decks and all other portable device, I think it's really allowing people to play even more on the go and not being limited to the experience of gaming on mobile. So I think that's also positive. There are still some region and some demographics that are not fully into gaming, whether it's because they don't have the means to have access to gaming, or they don't have the technology or the network to be able to be online. So there are still pockets of growth over there. And yeah, that's steady grow, but still a grow. And we will probably come at some point where um, we have the population of players will be directly linked to the grow or the not grow of the global population, basically.
Mm. All right, so
Mhm.
let's skip first the aspect of multi-screen playing, which definitely causes ADHD. Let's not talk
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
that. Doing three things at the same time, and then
Yeah.
wondering why kids can't concentrate. Let's talk more about the global player forecast. So there, if you're looking this on YouTube or Spotify, we can see the graphs, and it is showing a steady growth of player
Hmm.
base, which is of course a secular tailwind for the whole gaming industry. More players means more everything good.
Yeah.
And then you point here that 83% of players are playing on mobile, which makes all the sense.
Hmm.
18% of the players are playing on console, and 26% of all players are playing on console. Looking at PC and console, are these like what's the trend line? Are smaller percentage playing console or larger? And what's happening with the PC as well in terms of the trends?
I think for console as a market is very dependent on the release slate of both hardware and software. So game changing event like the Switch 2 release can temporarily bump the engagement and the number of people playing on console. Similarly, we know GTA 6 is gonna also push up the market in early next year. So there is a grow on console, but it's probably not where the grow is going to come, except for these kind of discrete events that are like one-time
Mm.
events happening. On PC, I would say PC has become probably a bit more trendy in recent year since the COVID. I think when the COVID happened, you had a limited stock, a limited supply of console because of the supply chain issues. It was super difficult to get a PlayStation 5 or to get an Xbox Series, while it was a bit more accessible to get access to PC and to PC gaming. It also feels like PC is a bit more trendy towards the younger generation. It feels cool to play on PC, while before it was more seen as like a nerdy platform. I think now it's really cool to build your own computer. It's become like
It was
yeah,
cool when I was a kid.
I know, but only for a few people. Now it's kind of becoming more of
Yeah.
a also a way the computer you build and or you I say that you decorate it with RGB and stuff like that. It's also an
Hmm.
expression of yourself. So I think there is something there with the alpha. Um, yeah. So both are going to keep increasing, but right now I would say without catalysts, the console market is going to be more stable. I would say and growing less probably. And then
Got it.
then
So
yeah, sorry.
grows together with the growth of player population.
Yeah, absolutely. And for
Mm.
PC, I think um, um, the emerging markets, the markets that are still not really fully into video games, they will have easier access to video games through mobile and through PC rather than console. Like if you look at China, for example, console is not really a big thing yet over there. I'm not sure it's ever going to be. South America is also for the emerging population of gamers that don't have the same means maybe as the more mature market. It's easier to go through PC because you already have a PC at home most of the time.
Yeah.
And also the other thing that I think it's important to notice that the younger generation, they don't care about playing a Crisis game, a game like Crisis. They play Roblox, and Roblox, it doesn't matter where you play Roblox. You can play Roblox on a potato computer, and it's still fine, still the same game. So I think also in terms of accessibility, a cheap computer becomes the easiest way to play some games compared to a console where you already have the
Mm.
threshold of the $500 or $600 jumping.
I love the term potato computer.
Yes,
That
I
that
know.
sounds like the most French insult I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, yes, 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 yes.
um,
Yes.
okay, so that makes all the sense. And also, it's just, why would emerging markets even get a console? Like, why would they need a console generation? It's so much smarter to use PC. Why would you have a separate device that needs to be hooked to your TV so other people can't watch TV, so that you can play exactly the same games as you would play them on PC, but probably it's even weaker than PC and equally as expensive? It makes
and
no
you
sense to have consoles.
and you get the exclusive now on PC. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there's
just
no reason to have consoles. Absolutely no reason.
I wrote a piece yesterday. I call it one rig to rule them all. You know that
Yes,
that's
I
good.
love it.
Yeah,
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 I'd rather take a potato computer than a console.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
And then, yes, I have the graph here that shows basically the player base per region as well as the growth, and you can see that pretty
Hmm.
much equal growth everywhere in terms of the player base.
Hmm.
Not big changes. I mean, Mina is clearly leading the growth in terms of the growth of players.
Hmm.
Um, any reasons behind that, or anything you should act on based on this information?
I think just let's look at North America and Europe, very similar, steady growth. So these are the mature markets, the mature region in the industry. But despite that, this is still where the most valuable players are probably. And that's also, I still feel like the video game industry is always very much focused on North America and on Europe. North America is 7% of the total players in the world.
Yeah,
It's 7. It's not like 50 or 30. It's
yeah.
7%. Um, Middle East and Africa, yeah, it's growing. I think it's a combination. You see some of the investment that Middle East countries are doing, mostly on the esports scene, but that can probably have an organic effect locally. But also at the same time, there is the technologic development, the connectivity that are improving in these areas. That's also helping for the player growth. And then, yeah, Latin America and Asia Pacific growing by 4.5%. So I think you really see to the world like divided in two when you look at the expectation in terms of player growth in the coming years. Also, Asia Pacific is more of a mobile and console, mobile and PC
Hmm.
region, while US is still very console. Europe also, yeah,
Yeah, legacy in a way, but also we have to take into account, like, Middle East and Africa. You're combining pretty big,
yeah,
a continent and a big sector, and through that it looks
absolutely,
much bigger. But when we
yeah,
consider even Middle East, like, the countries are not as populous as some would think. Like, Saudi Arabia is what, 35 million people, and that's like one
hmm,
of the biggest. Egypt, I think, is the biggest one, but everything else, like
yeah,
UAE
yeah.
and others, are quite small in terms of population, smaller than big European countries.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you have to, when we talk about Middle East and Africa, we have to look at everything around that. And they are like massive countries with a lot of
Yeah,
population. They're just
yeah,
waiting to be unlocked somehow. But there are
yeah,
so many like checklists to happen before we can unlock these markets because yeah, the GDP of these countries is relatively low. So that doesn't help for players to get access to video games.
yeah. And even though the language is technically the same, it's not practically the same. Like, everybody speaks Arabic, but
Yeah, yeah.
Arabic in
Yeah.
Morocco is different than Arabic in Saudi Arabia. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you see in terms of localization, it's always interesting to see the trend, and I think some games are now translated in Arabic, but it's not by default. You know, it's not
Hmm.
like French or German that are like by default for every game, and once it's outside of just English. Um, yeah, that's and also the cultural relevance, the cultural heritage, legacy in these countries also doesn't allow you to have maybe the same freedom as you have in some other territories when it comes
Yeah.
to creativity. Mhm.
Yeah, and then, of course, important part when we're looking at the growth of different regions, you could look at the percentages that North America or Europe have, and kind of see that they're pretty small. But I think it's really important to look at the revenue power of each of the region, and you actually have a
Mhm.
graph of this one
Yeah,
and the development of the revenue. So, in terms of and this is CAGR, so cumulative annual growth rates of
yeah,
APAC, Middle East, EU, Latin, and so forth.
mhm,
And here where you can see, even though Middle East is this booming sector, when
yeah,
we're looking at population growth, we're still only talking about 4% of overall revenue. And based on this massive growth that they're seeing, it could go up to 5%. of all revenue. So
Yes.
before companies jump in on this new rising wave of players, this like
Yeah.
you're optimizing against 5% of the market. And you mentioned North America and EU.
Mhm.
These
Mhm.
two make like about 30% of the revenue, and over half of
Okay.
the revenue is coming from APAC.
Absolutely. And why it feels like still the gravity is towards the decision making is towards the US and Europe mostly, you know? So there's a danger that to try to think that what fits your local audience also fits the rest of the world, while actually the rest of the world audience is bigger than your local market. So I think that's it's very even more when now you can see clearly that the Asia territory is mostly China and Korea. They are able to produce very compelling content that also resonate to the Western audience, which is kind of new. You know? Before it was more they were good in their local markets, but now, like a game like Marvel Rivals, it's published by it's published from Asia, right? And it comes and it breaks everything in the Western world. Some other games are also doing that. So yes, I think it's more of a warning for the Western publishers that the Eastern publisher are also coming to the for the Western audience.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I was showing the mobile revenues here. Sorry,
Yeah,
it was a different graph, but it pretty much
yeah,
tells the same thing.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, and this is the console revenue. So sorry
yeah,
for if you were looking at it, but it doesn't change as much, except that EU and North America are actually commanding, as you said, both of the like most of the console revenues, just because there's not much console going on. And then when it comes to yeah, these are PCs and others. But yeah,
yeah.
uh, I wanted to ask about mobile because, of course, like most of these listeners that we have
Hmm.
are from the mobile side. So it feels like mobile is slowing down. I know with many people who are in the industry. According to your estimates, it hit 103 billion in 2025. That
Hmm.
shows a little bit less than 3% growth. And the story that we're hearing seems to be around direct to consumer monetization, about UA financing. So my question is like, who are the actual winners here? Is it the developers? Is it the platforms? Is it the payment intermediaries? Is it
Hmm.
the tech tool financier companies?
Yeah.
What's your take on mobile? Attention app and game developers. Are you ready to unlock the secrets behind the world's top performing apps and games? With Sensor Tower, you get the ultimate competitive edge, whether it's breaking into new markets, fine-tuning your UA strategies, or boosting monetization. Dive into data like never before. Track global trends across app stores. Analyze market-leading in-app purchase and in-app ad strategies. And benchmark your performance with real-time insight. The best part, Sensor Tower doesn't just deliver data, it helps you turn it into action. With intuitive tools and expert analysis, it's everything you need to make smarter, faster decisions. Thousands of app and game studios, from indie creators to global giants, trust Sensor Tower to help them win. So why not you? Start your free trial today at sensortower.com. That is sensortower.com. Web stores. You've seen what good looks like, but have you seen great? AppCharge is the direct-to-consumer platform backed by the likes of Supercell and built by monetization pros from Moonactive, Playtika, Huge Games, and others. People who know the difference. AppCharge powers over $500 million in transaction a year for top studios, optimizing every detail. Deeply personalized web store offers custom-made design, industry-leading monetization features, in-game payments, SDK, and more. 70% of top grossing games already have a web store, but the ones scaling fastest, they're doing it with AppCharge. Learn more at appcharge.com.
So I think when you look at basically just a game that used to be selling, making revenue through the app store, and tomorrow is gonna make revenue just through a web app or something like outside of the pure Apple ecosystem. There is margin that is being recovered by someone. Okay, It can be the full margin from the full royalties from Apple that goes in the pocket of the developer or the publisher. Some of them can go in the end user. So I think it's a mix of like winners. Hopefully, the consumer will be a winner also at some point. But one thing that we also need to consider is that it's bringing more friction to the user, to the player. Because for each game, you have to go to the own dedicated platform outside of the App Store and to purchase your things. So it requires more effort to the end consumer. So the end consumer is also expecting to get back some of that that money that's being saved by not being officially on the App Store. I don't see a world where Apple would benefit from that. Just to be clear, because it kind of all the transaction, they kind of disappear from their channel of distribution, which also mean that they might add even more friction for the developers and for the people, so that they still get some kind of share of revenue. That's usually when these big companies, they see their margin drop, they usually take decisions that might not be always customer friendly. So we will see what happens there. I don't think it's over. I don't think that the battle is over. Epic won for now, but what about the next one, the next big one? What will they do? Yeah, and winners, yes. Payment method, I don't really see how it makes a big difference for them between one of the other, because it's just like X% of the what is paid by the end user, as far as I know. I would say the way I compare that is that it reminds me of the early days of every publisher wanting to have their own PC app. You know, the EA, the Origin, the Ubisoft thing, and the Battle.net thing, and it just made it very complicated for the user. I think also the moment you can only buy your V-Bucks on the dedicated Epic app, they fully control the price. You are just absolutely captive on every single level of their ecosystem. So yeah, I would say short term it feels like a good news for the players, because they will benefit from that. But I don't know at what point it will become, with so much friction for the players, that it's not great. And we see what's happening on PC. Everybody's going back to Steam because that's the most user-friendly solution. You know, that's just and also, how will a publisher get the players and get the awareness if their game is not present in the App Store, which is still the entry point for players to discover games? So a lot of questions. We are monitoring that closely. I would say as a data company, it makes it more challenging for us, because now we have to collect the data for every publisher that's not outside of the App Store or outside of Google Play. So it's a bit more challenging, and I don't think anybody is really able to capture that at this point. But yeah, it's very interesting to see what will happen. But again, it's the same story as PC somehow.
Yeah. What's your prediction on that? Because if we look at the Epic app, they've spent an arm and a leg to promote it.
Yeah.
The installation, I just remember the installation process. Did it have 14 steps before you can get it? I think I bailed on it like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And when I finally installed it, I was like, I don't even want to play Fortnite. There's 3 games here. And like I can't imagine that being any way profitable to do this nonsense. It feels performative. Do you think that there's a future for this? Like if Microsoft launches their own app, like do you think they will take COD and Candy Crush, remove it from the App Store, and put it in their own shithole store that is impossible to find?
It's possible. I think there will be a lot of testing and tweaking. There probably be like 3 step up front and 2 step back in many areas. I think we don't know yet. The other thing I would like to talk about is the portable devices, the portable PC devices that can become substitute to mobile gaming. You're like, it's much better to play on a Steam Deck than to play on a mobile
No,
phone.
it's not. It's just a totally different experience. It's just a totally different audience. I don't think it's going to be a substitute.
I don't know, because when it comes to traveling, to being not at home, if you have
Hmm.
the, I also think right now they are too big. Okay, I totally agree. These devices are too big, but I don't know how
But the
far they can go.
but games are not even designed for them, and we've had portable consoles forever. Since
Yeah,
Nintendo Game Boy, we've had
yeah,
consoles like you remember the was it PSP?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like we've had them and they've never succeeded. ROG and so forth, like they succeed, of course, in finding their niche market. But how
Yeah,
many players are like, I need this because I'm commuting every day? I'm sure there are these type of people, but
yeah,
how small of a percentage that is compared to the
yeah,
people who just go off
yeah.
like in the airplane mode and play block blast or whatever I'm playing right now in an airplane.
Yeah, I get that, but you cannot also ignore the success of the Switch, which is also successful partially because it's a portable device, you know? So,
Mm.
I mean, we heard the rumors about the next PlayStation having also a portable version.
Yeah, but here's the difference between Switch and everything else. Switch, just like Game Boy, has games made for Switch. Steam
Yeah,
Deck doesn't have
yeah,
games made for Steam Deck.
yeah.
Whatever PlayStation portable thing doesn't have games made for that. And so I think content is the most important part. And
Oh, yeah,
and if there's no specific content, if it's like you can play the same game that you would play on your potato PC, but
yeah,
now you have your your potato portable PC
yeah, 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 yeah.
that is not optimized to play the game that you wanted to play, and you can play now a worse version of it.
Yeah.
I get it. There are people, but I just don't see that to be substitute to the magnificent $2,000 device that is your phone that can show you movies and
Yeah.
podcasts and all the games that you want to play.
Yeah, yeah. Again, that's the just. I think there are different angles to that. There is not like
Yeah.
one true prediction. I I don't play games on my phone because I think the experience is terrible. The interface is terrible. You know, I'd rather not play than play games on my phone. I'm not saying that I play that much with the Steam Deck neither. Um, but yeah, there's. I also feel like with the rise of games as a platform like Roblox or even like Fortnite of Minecraft, like your hardware doesn't matter anymore that much because the game is the same, whatever the hardware is. So in that case, you're also like, well, I want to play Roblox. I don't really care about the
Hmm.
device, and I will buy V-Bucks on the platform where it's the cheapest. I will not be locked into the App Store, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
again, all of that just scream more friction for the players, which is
I
never good.
understand.
You know,
I
that's
understand.
just the thing. Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about the genre evolution, and here I have a graph
Hmm.
of PC revenues per genre,
Hmm. Hmm.
and out of like identifiable genres. So of course, the biggest genre is the other. So it's all the rest that doesn't fit the
Yes.
narrative.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the biggest one is shooters that have
Hmm.
declined by
Yeah.
5% year over year. We
Yeah.
got role playing, second biggest one, declined by 8% year over year. And then out of the smaller ones, the battle royale is up, which is kind of like shooter. We're not combining shooters with battle royale. I get it, but not all battle royale
Yeah.
games are shooters, but kind of feels like most of them are.
Yeah.
And then the biggest growth is in adventure and simulation. But basically,
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about the evolution of genres and how come the biggest ones are declining?
Yeah, I think even if on PC, what you see in general, like there is a thick layer of all the same games year after year. The Counter Strike, the PUBG, the League of Legends, and I mean this game, the Valorant, this game are always there. Sometimes they have a good year, sometimes they have a bad year. It really fluctuates. And then what you're left after that, it's more of about the slate of games, and what games were maybe massive, what shooter was massive last year, a game like Helldivers 2, for example, and
Mm,
this year is not so big. I think a game like yeah, it's more in the battle royale space. I think the growing battle royale is mostly PUBG at this point because I think that Fortnite and Apex are not doing that well. Um,
yeah.
in terms of shooter, it's a lot driven still by, even on PC, by the health of Call of Duty. Right, it's still there. We saw uh, Marvel Rivals doing quite good. So it's more like slate dependent. Does it mean that there is a real change in the market in terms of player expectation and player genre they really like? I think when you look at a generational level, you can probably it feels like the younger generation are less into pure PvP, but they are more into like shared experience, maybe more co-op, more social experience that just really pure like Western style duel that you had more for the Gen X or the millennial. So I think there is potentially a trend over there. There's also more about creativity probably, so the simulation and then even the adventure. The challenge with this kind of graph is also what is really technically an adventure game compared to a role playing. I think sometimes the line is in role playing. Maybe it's suffering from Baldur's Gate incredible numbers the year before,
Yeah.
and you don't have such a defining moment this year. So does it mean that that the role playing game is a dying genre? Maybe not. It's just that there's not been this like tentpole games that they've been launched this year. So I think a lot is slate dependent. There are differences between PC and console for sure, and also mobile, obviously. At the same time, yeah, Fortnite is considered as a battle royale, but it's mostly a shooter experience. But Roblox, I think Roblox is more within, I would say, simulation. I would have to check. But Roblox is just, it's not a game as such. You know, you can play a survival game within Roblox. You can play a shooter game. You can play a role playing game
It's
within
a
Roblox.
platform.
So for us, it's also a challenge in the future, because with this platform gathering such big audience, we also need to find a way to kind of split these players within the genre, actually. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a mixed one, but let's not underestimate um, the slate. Yes, the slate is still quite
Got it. So
important.
it's very yearly dependent. Whatever is a hit
Yeah.
raises the numbers, and when there's no follow up the next year, it looks like it's a down year, even though it is a hangover from the year before.
I would say also for so there is another thing in terms of adventure. We've seen that people are kind of excited to kind of pause their live service game and just try an experience, a finite experience, single player experience of 20 hours. They just play it. It's usually adventure games, can be Ghost of Tsushima, it can be some other games like that. And then they go back to their multiplayer shooter or to their other lifestyle game. Um, and in terms of shooter, I would say the big question mark for us is the performance of Battlefield 6. I think we are very interested to see what the game will do, and maybe particularly on PC. I think we've been rather cautious with our assumptions in this forecast, but I think there is potential for Battlefield to break through this year. So that's for us. It's kind of an important event this year because it will have a lot of implication for the market.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
it looks to be trending in an interesting direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though the I saw the news that most of the people are playing not with playing with potato PCs. Not that was essentially the news. Not according to the requirements that EA put on the game. So
But
interesting.
they've made a lot of effort. They've dropped the ray tracing to lower the entry barrier, so it means you
Hmm.
can play with an older graphic card. So I think they made some design decisions to making sure that most of the audience is actually able to run the game, which is a
Good.
completely change of mindset when you look at the previous Battlefield, where their part of their brand was to be the high end of the scope when it comes from the technology and the game engine. And now they've
Yeah.
kind of gone in another direction. So that's also something that will be interesting to monitor.
Different economic situation. Back then, they would say, "Hey, time to update your rig."
Yeah.
Now, people are like, "No, time for you to downgrade your game because I don't have money to
Yes.
upgrade my rig."
Absolutely. And then you have a game like Delta Force, which is a direct competitor to Battlefield, which can run on low spec, which is a game almost designed for mobile. So how do you compete with that if you come with the highest possible spec for your player to even start the game? And I think that's a challenge. I think it will Borderlands 4 has been released. There's a lot of discussion about also the min spec, about the technical issue they have on PC. And I just wonder if it will have an impact on the lifetime sales also.
Hmm.
these
That's
technical
that's
challenges.
actually an interesting trend to dive
Mhm.
to not even dive into, but kind of see the effect, because we were so used to this continuous economic growth
Mhm.
that allowed, basically it was totally normal to release a new slate of games and
Mhm.
assume that people will be updating their consoles, their PCs, and it's just, if you don't have a good enough PC to run it, then upgrade it, whether you upgrade graphical cards or just go ahead and buy a new one. And now that seems to be thing of the past.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I wrote something about the end of the pixel war, in the sense that we kind of capped at 4K right now. It doesn't feel like we're gonna go 8K. It doesn't feel like it's picking up as much as we went from 1080p to 4K.
Hmm.
Um, there is a limit into the visual, the realism, the visual realism. It feels like a game like Battlefront 2, which was launched 7 or 8 years ago, looks as crisp as a new game right now. There's
Yes.
not been that, there's not been any breakthrough in anything that would be visually more impressive now than before. So the hardware maker, they don't have that argument anymore. Like PlayStation 5 feels like a smooth transition from PlayStation 4. The biggest quality of life improvement of PlayStation 5 is the SSD drive on. It's the speed at which you load the game. It's not the fact that it's so much more realistic or so much more beautiful visually. So there's less need to improve your hardware. So it feels a bit counterintuitive, or like it goes against the trend that you would come with a game that will require very high PC specs, because that's not in the mindset of people anymore. The young people, let's not forget, the young people, they play Roblox. They don't care.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
benchmark. It's Roblox.
But you mentioned correctly. Of course, you mentioned it correctly. But just the updates of the hardware are so minimal nowadays. Like, was it PlayStation Pro, where essentially people were just trying to understand, like, how is this better than my
Mhm.
PlayStation 5? It's like now you can see inside of a window of a car that is out there, and you can see like the seat. It doesn't affect your gameplay. I just remember
Yeah.
reading these reviews. Like, like you wouldn't see it as a normal player, but nevertheless, it will cost significant amount of money to get this Pro.
It's a big challenge for the marketing teams of these hardware companies, because
Mm-hmm.
how can I just say it's a step up? What do I
Yeah.
bring? And even the loading speed and the SSD, that's not very sexy. You can't really showcase that. You just show a clock and it takes less time to load. But it's a bit challenging, and also it just comes down to the fact that the PlayStation and the Xbox, from a hardware standpoint, they've become branded PC box. It's just
This podcast is brought to you by AppsFlyer. In today's digital world, understanding your app's journey from discovery to download is more than just insightful, it's essential. Enter AppsFlyer, the leader in mobile attribution and marketing analytics that allows you to measure the full potential of your marketing efforts, making every ad dollar work smarter. With AppsFlyer, that's your new reality. Dive deep into data-driven insights that reveal exactly where your users come from and how they'll interact with your app. AppsFlyer, where your app's potential meets performance.
just be clear.
Yeah.
It's just the same component. Like reshuffled, you don't see Xbox or PlayStation claiming that their games run better on their platform anymore. There's not this kind of console war, because it's about the portfolio of IPs more than really the technical part of that.
Hmm.
There's not a race towards better technical. So yeah.
One thing that since we're talking about the quality of games, the pixel wars, the upgrades of hardware, another thing that you have in the report is nostalgia and the remakes. And it seems like remakes and remasters are a proven growth strategy. Do you think that publishers are leaning now too heavily on nostalgia? And is this the safest hedge against the ballooning dev costs?
Yes. Who would make a bet of $100 million on a new IP right now? Given how quickly the trends are changing, it's like TikTok generation of video gaming. You grow
Yeah.
a garden one day, you have a steal your brain rot the next day. like 20 million people shifting from one game to the other in no time. Who would take the risk of building a blockbuster without the insurance that you are already in known territory with your IP? So I think that's the biggest challenge right now. The risk is what you see with the movie industry. I always like to look at the movie industry because that's basically what's going to happen in the video game industry a few
You
years
think
after.
so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You don't take the like YouTube. Is mobile the YouTube of movie industry, or the Netflix and the Roblox is the YouTube? No, Roblox is the TikTok of the
Yeah.
industry.
It's more like that. I think which new IP has been successful at the box office in the last few years? I think the last one was Sinners, the movie about the vampire, which was the
I've never heard. No.
Yeah. Well, it made like more than 300 million in the US, so it was kind of a big. But it's been the first new IP that basically broke some record for such a long time, because it has all been about Marvel, about Mission Impossible, about Star Wars. And what you can see also at the cinema is that they are making follow-up of movies that were popular 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Freaky Friday, or all this. I don't know. It feels like this is what video games are also doing. You know, they are going deeper and deeper in the catalog of IPs. You've seen the Atari partnering with Ubisoft to bring back like some dead IPs, to bring them back. You have remaster of games like Legacy of Kain, which might have some cult following, but it basically sold 3 million units 20 years ago. You know, you're not gonna sell 5 million units now. So
sounds like I've heard Legacy of Kain. I couldn't describe the game at all.
Soul River is also a vampire game, but
yeah,
I think there have been a few success stories. Resident Evil, amazing success story, because they combined remakes that are better than the original games, and also like brand new games in the series. You know, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8. Now they have 9 coming. So I think that's the best combination, the best balance within an IP. I think Final Fantasy is also doing that quite well. But yeah, it limits creativity. You know, when the only games that are being financed are the ones that gonna be with an existing IP, then it's kind of difficult to really come with something new, and there is the risk that there will be fatigue of all these existing IP for the players.
What's the difference between a remake and remaster?
I would say a remaster is usually mostly visual, so it's going from 1K to 4K. That I will call a remaster. A remake, you can also change the gameplay. You can go like isometric view to third person. That's what Resident Evil did that with 2 and 3 remake. They went from a view, you know, where it's a fixed screen, where you move your character inside of a fixed scene. Why not it's third person or even first person, I think.
Makes sense. I hated that part. Because it was hard to control with the new camera angle coming in different places.
But that's a remake. A remaster can also be from a PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. Just the upgrade like they did with The Last of Us, and then some games like that. It's just purely visual. One game that's very interesting in that space is Dead Space. Because Dead Space is considered as a remake, but it's exactly the same story, exactly the same environment, the same mechanics. There are barely any improvement in quality of life improvement, but it's a new engine. So they've remade the game in a new engine so that it's visually better. So it's at the frontier between remake and remaster, actually. But I would say yes.
I don't get remasters, to be honest. Like, I remember one of the first remasters that I feel that came through was I think it was StarCraft 1. And I remember how everybody in our studio downloaded it. We're like, we are going to play StarCraft as it drops today. Like, let's go, guys. And then we downloaded it, and it was like, this kind of sucks. Like, it was just... It was just not what it used to be. It's like watching a movie that is 20 years old. It's just too slow.
Yeah. I think the remasters still need to be fresh. You cannot do a remaster of a 20-year-old game because the gameplay has evolved much, with the exception of maybe some genres that are that have not changed in terms of gameplay mechanics. Oblivion Remaster. It's Oblivion Remaster. It's not Oblivion Remake.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a a better version visually of the original game, but the mechanics have not changed. Why? Because the RPG mechanics have not changed in the last 20 years. The open world games are still the same as what or they looked 20 years ago. I think tomorrow, if there is a remake of if there is a new Assassin's Creed, it can be a remaster rather than a remake, because they don't need to change the formula. The formula is still relevant for today. So a remake, I think, needs to happen if your gameplay is aged, because the gameplay doesn't fit the market anymore. And I think sometimes they've been cheap remasters of very old gameplay, and yeah, that doesn't work. You have the nostalgia, you launch it and you play it. You say, actually, it's terrible to compare to today's standards. Yeah,
I'd like to see. I'm thinking like that's actually an interesting thing. Just thinking of my own perspective. One of my favorite games would be Dungeon Keeper, and I'd be like, I would like a remake of Dungeon Keeper. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I can't describe it to you, but I would like that feeling again that I got. And then whatever they would deliver would probably be underwhelming.
Yeah.
So I think you can win.
High expectation or high disappointment. It's always the same. I thinking the same like Wing Commander. I love Wing Commander, but would it work today? How would it work? There are games like that. You wish they would be remade. There are still pockets of opportunities there. Let's be honest. It's money making machines. It's just
you're banking on nostalgia.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's interesting for some IP to do like little remaster, because it's a limited investment, low risk, and it gives you an understanding of the popularity of your IP. Like, is it worth now to make a new game or to invest more in that IP? I think it's also a way to test the waters and make some money at the same time.
Interesting. I get it. I get the business case. I just feel like they're often like given to some third-party studio to do a new version under a tight budget because it's uneasy to play and it's like a boardroom decision. It's not somebody who's remaking their childhood fantasy. It's it might be in the beginning, but then the reality sinks in that you have about 9 months to ship this piece of shit. So time to update the graphics and just release.
Absolutely. I mean, a game like Dead Space, I'm coming back to that. The Dead Space remake was a fantastic game. I think 1992 Metacritic, because the initial game was really good also at the same time. So also never forget, you better have a good first game. The original game better be good, because don't make a remaster of a terrible game. It's still going to be terrible. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, actually.
It wasn't bad. It's not like it was generational or like the best game of that year.
Absolutely. But Dead Space, even if the numbers were not good enough to kind of launch the remake of Dead Space 2, for example, while the game was already good. So yeah, it's case by case, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then sorry, I didn't mention anything on the graph that we have here. It's basically console players are the most interested in remakes and remasters, but it's like 5 out of 7. Which is like, it's like, are you hungry? You'd be like, I could eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is not really, but if you have something that I don't know or that I want, I could have it. And PC player the same. And interestingly enough, mobile players have the same amount of almost like 4.8 out of 7 towards remakes and remasters. Like, what are we even talking about? Because mobile, like, you can still play Candy Crush, and that game is older than mobile.
Absolutely. Yes, because most of the mobile games are live service games. They're never ending, So I think this doesn't tell much as such, and I don't think you can really call a lot of conclusion based on the graph. And I think console.
No offense to the graph, but this graph is useless.
No. Exactly. And I mean, we don't always show data that has like a direct conclusion. Sometimes we just show that we cannot tell if there is really a bigger appeal or not. I think also it sometimes depends how the question is being asked. Did we ask precisely to mobile players, are you interested in mobile remasters of mobile game, or just interested in remasters in general. I think that's also the way you ask the question, you will get a different outcome. But I would say the console player, probably they are most likely to think about remake and remaster because they remember.
You've heard of Heroic Labs by now, and we keep talking about them because you need every edge to be successful in today's market. Heroic Labs game stack is built like a brick house. You got the Nakama, their backend game server, Hero, their game development framework, Satori, their live op service, and last but not least, Heroic Cloud to provide massive scalability. Heroic Labs is a battle-tested partner, and their tech enables you to be flexible, creative, and scale for success. Focus on your game, avoid tech risks, grow your product with scalable live ops, and save a big chunk of cheese, all with Heroic Labs.
Playing games on a previous generation of their hardware, and they want to re-experience that with the comfort of the new generation. I think that's probably where.
And I'm interested, especially on mobile number being so high, because I would put mobile number, well, yes, maybe if this is interest, but I would put execution at 1.1 because, like, you remember, let's say, well, Simpsons Tapped Out was like one of the first mobile games, but that's not a remake, that's an IP game. But let's say Command and Conquer Rivals, an absolute disaster. Dungeon Keeper actually came up on mobile, disaster. We could go down the list. Titanfall, like all these games have been absolute disasters on mobile. So it feels like mobile has been the place for new IPs. But when you bring something nostalgic, it's like 40,000 people download it. And like, this is nothing like the game that I played on my potato PC 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that will be interesting is not directly related. It's just Hitman is going to release on mobile phone.
Oh, can't wait. Is it paid?
Curious.
Is it paid?
I'm not sure. I'm really. I don't know the detail. I'm very interested in that.
But it's not the first Hitman. There has been a Hitman before. They was developed out of Montreal, Eidos. Nobody cared.
Yeah, there was Hitman Go also at some point, which was
Hitman Go as well. There's Tomb Raider Go. Like nobody cares because they imagine in their head Hitman, and then they will download it. This one, and I don't know. No. I think that will be actually paid game if I'm correct, like $50 or $60.
It could be.
Which is disaster. Okay, so enough about mobile disaster. Sorry again. Like this is too much. A couple of more things. So we talked a lot about Roblox, and here we can see Roblox graph, and we can see daily active users per platform. And again, nobody seems to be playing Roblox on consoles, which makes sense. It's probably the ugliest game you can play on your console. It's an offensive action against your flat screen TV. If I would break if I.
But there is a but. Roblox was launched on PlayStation at the end of 2023, and it instantly captured 3% of all the playtime on PlayStation. 3% for one game. Okay, it's now at 4%. While we've seen that playtime in the recent quarter has been down in total. I think that what we will see is that the 3% of console will probably increase and eat some of the 80% of the mobile, because what I see around me, I have two teenagers. I see how the kids behave. The time they don't spend on the mobile phone playing Roblox, they spend it on the PlayStation. Because it's a terrible game for the PlayStation, but it's a much better experience to play Roblox on the PlayStation compared to the mobile, because you have the controller and things like that. So it's better. If you play Roblox, you better play it on a console. But if you have a console, maybe it's not Roblox you want to play on the console. That's the thing. So I think it will evolve. You've seen Roblox keep breaking numbers. They keep breaking all the DAU numbers, 40 million. I've heard that Steal Your Brain Rot, they made like 20 million concurrent player yesterday or 2 days ago.
And you played the game, right?
No, that one I've played Grow Garden, but I've not played Steal Your Brain Rot.
Don't play it. Don't play it.
The funny part
is you'll be saddened. You'll be that this is the number one game in the
Yeah,
world right now. It'd be like,
yeah,
oh Jesus.
yeah. I know, I know. One interesting call out is that when they are looking at the total number of players on Steal Your Brain Rot, they add the Fortnite players that are playing the same game, but in Fortnite. There is an official version of Steal Your Brain Rot on Fortnite. So you now have an experience which is multi-platform, but not hardware multi-platform, kind of software multi-platform. It's present in two different gaming platform. You know, it's.
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting when you look at the market and how things will evolve. We have been used to hardware platforms. You play on console, you play on PC, you play on mobile, you play on this or that. Roblox, you play it anywhere. It doesn't matter. The experience is almost the same or very similar. But the experience of Roblox can be replicated in other games. So I'm really curious to see how things will evolve in the future and how everything will be put together. Maybe tomorrow Roblox will be your main gateway to playing games, whatever the hardware is. And I don't know where this will lead, but when you have Roblox, that's basically bigger than the Xbox ecosystem in terms of concurrent player. You know that something is happening.
Well, I hope it leads to Roblox being profitable one day.
Yeah, that will come. When that will come, when the current Roblox audience will age and will not leave Roblox, they will stay in Roblox.
Yeah,
That's when the monetization will come. If it comes.
I think there's something about the staying power of the games has been increasing. It's not pop and drop anymore. They're changing the algorithm. The conversions are not that bad. Like we're talking about 1% to 2% on most of these games, even though the monetization tends to be predatory at best. I get your point. Do you think that looking at Roblox, is this an exception or is it a blueprint?
I think it's an exception, but it doesn't mean that it can be. Yeah, it's a blueprint, but I'm not sure it can be replicated. That's more
so that technically makes it an exception.
Yeah, exactly. It was an exception when it was launched, and it might stay an exception because it's difficult to replicate. Yes, I don't see big communities shifting easily anymore because that's the parallel. My kids, they are teenagers. Do I think that when they will be 16, they will move and play Call of Duty instead? Maybe not, but will they will have to bring all their friends to play Call of Duty. And all the friends are going to have to pay maybe $60 to play Call of Duty, and they play together. While everybody can get in and out of Roblox, everybody can play it for whatever platform you have. So I think the question is how quickly can the communities move from one platform to the other in the future. That's what will make it interesting.
Yeah, there's two elements here actually. So you're saying one is your social graph and how social graph is stable. Like you don't leave Fortnite after putting in like 4 or 5 years into it and building your friend network there, just because a new game launched. And the second one is accessibility. When the price is zero and it works on all the platforms, that's quite difficult to compete with with that type of a distribution. Yeah. And so kind of going back to it with how console has been going and is still going in PC games, like just increasing the price of production, increasing the price of the game, making it less accessible by requiring insane specs from a computer. So you need to update your hardware to just play a game that has a lifetime of about 15 hours at best.
Yeah.
Sounds like the stupidest thing you can have from a strategy perspective when you would sit them down like, do you know what you're doing and why you're losing? This is the reason. And they were like, yeah, but every new game has to have better graphics. And it's like, okay, why are we even having this conversation?
Yeah, and we were born as kind of older gamers. We were born in a world where the norm was different. But today's gamer, they are born in the Roblox world. That's the norm. This is the norm. Yeah. Why would they put themselves more friction and more constraint to play other experience? But they can just surf from one experience to the other within an ecosystem that it's ubiquitous and where all their social network is. So,
but you talk a lot to the biggest gaming companies in the world.
Yes.
and many of them are following the strategy of let's just increase the amount of pixels. And this is top franchise. This is multi-billion-dollar franchise. We need to introduce the nth version of this franchise that is going to be less accessible and more expensive to make. But you must be saying to them, like, guys, get this. This strategy has worked for you for the last 20 years and less successfully every time, probably less and less profitable. At what point will you make the switch? And all I'm seeing from the outside is I'm seeing them wanting to put their ass on two seats. They want to make it microtransactions, but also paid.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's about money. Ultimately, it's
which always results also into backlash from the players, and they still end up doing that again. They're like, we can't go full free to play, even though Warzone was amazing success. And they were like, you know what we should do next? Go back to what we did before Warzone.
I know. Because I mean, I'm just one part of the ecosystem. I have opinions. I also have data. Ultimately, it's the publisher's call to decide their own strategy. They can listen to us or not. We're not always right, obviously, but I think Roblox, as an example, is there. You cannot ignore it. You cannot say it doesn't exist. You cannot say it's going away. You can still position yourself as a competitor, but you're not likely to beat them, or not in the long term. So it's more about how do you embrace that? How do you make your experience complementary to that? So I always think that there are synergies rather than really thinking that you know better than the market or you know better than the player. I think there is still a lot of arrogance probably in some rooms at some publisher that they think they know better. But it takes a few failures for people to back down and that maybe listen more to the trends and to what the experts are saying. So I don't think that there is they keep climbing the ladder of being the most beautiful games and things like that. I think this is kind of stopped down a little bit. I think if it doesn't serve the gameplay, then it's less likely to be important compared to before. But yeah, it's a good question. I also think that you will see less and less new expensive IPs. I think the $100 million new IPs are going to be something you won't see often. There will still be some tentative, but I think it's going to be very challenging because there are not many opportunities to be successful. I'm convinced that the audience is gonna, how can I say, the new audience, the new players have different way of playing and different expectations than the people actually deciding for the future of the publishing and of the industry. Another thing I like to highlight is that it's getting it's a mature industry. It's an old industry, right? Video games, the 80s, it's been like 40, 45 years. You have people in the video game industry that are retiring right now.
Yes.
Can we expect these people to know what is relevant today? You know, that's also a difference in terms of the people that actually decide of where do they want to guide their big publishing or their big studios. Like they are getting also old. We are getting old, and we have to adapt to the new audience and listen to.
I don't know if that's possible. Like I mean, from DOF side, we work with various different types of publishers from the old dogs to the new breed. Meaning Roblox developers and AAA developers. And I feel like the first generation, the AAA developers, are old dogs. They can't learn new tricks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they're so convinced in what worked always before that they just continue doing the same thing, even though it's incredibly detrimental towards their business and becomes riskier with every release. And at the same time, let's say mobile developers and Roblox developers, you would say they're very close to each other's. I haven't seen the crossover where mobile developers with all their decade and so expertise in free-to-play would be coming into Roblox and succeeding. yes, maybe they've improved a funnel here or there, but all their tricks that they know, that they are 100% convinced they will do 2,000 A/B tests.
Yeah.
Useless. They can't, and they can't even come up with new games that would work on Roblox. It's it's the Roblox generation that can only satisfy the Roblox players.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, which means that's where you have to get your people. You know, if you're a big publisher, you have to invest in these like new creator, or you also have to. Yeah.
But you talk to the boardrooms; they are not young. Like they have just as much hair as I do.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. You know, I always see the goods in the progress and the evolution, and this is what's happening. You know, there is always people saying before it was better, but it was before. You know, you want to be successful today, you want to be successful tomorrow. What happens before is just it's good to know, but it's not gonna make you successful in the future. Just know your audience. Understand what's your target audience and design the games for your target audience. I think we have maybe to finish with, I think Skate is getting out of early access today. The new Skate, which is not Skate 4, it's just Skate live service kind of Skate. It's an IP that was successful some years ago for a different
20.
audience. Yeah, different
20.
audience.
About 20.
Gen X, the millennial. But now it's being released under a business model that resonates more for the alpha or for the younger audience. Is it the right fit? Like an IP designed for an older audience and a business model released in a business model for a younger audience. I'm curious to see what will happen.
Yeah, especially looking at the graph that you have, like the final graph that I'm showing here is the age distribution of Roblox player and general population. It kind of shows the younger one.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Really, really interesting. I have an outro question.
Yeah.
The most important one. This is not the most important one.
Okay.
But just to put you on the spot.
Okay.
So if you had to bet on force shaping the next 2 to 3 years of gaming, whether we're talking about new platform, a new genre, or a new business model, what would you bet on?
I would bet on the big platforms. I would bet on the Roblox. I think Roblox it will keep snowballing more and more. I don't think any hardware will come and make any change. I don't even think that, but that's personal perspective, that the Switch 2 is gonna be like a massive success in the long run. I think it had a good start, but I don't see that as being really a game changer. I think it will be more and more players gravitating around Roblox. Maybe Fortnite, even if it feels like Fortnite now is a bit of a weaker position, because Fortnite is more positioned as a shooter and not the other experiences are not that successful over there. But I think Roblox and whatever experience of gameplay will emerge of all the sea of different experience you have there. And maybe 1 or 2 developers will find the right gameplay and make a standalone experience based on what has been successful, and then be successful as a standalone. But I think this is where the creativity will come and the opportunity will come. That's what the people are playing right now. Yes, absolutely. In this platform.
Manu, thank you so much for all the insights and going through. We went through the 200-page. Paid version almost. No, we talked about a few of the topics. Definitely for those who are working in PC or console, you should get the Newzoo paid report. It's so much deeper than the freemium version that you get. Yeah. So thank you for sending that one, and thank you for engaging in conversations about some of the details that I found to be interesting. Others might have different details that would interest them.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me.
All right. Everybody, Newzoo.com. Just go there, get the report, and don't be an old dog. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. As a fan of the show, it would help us out if you'd subscribe and leave us a review on the podcast service of your choice. Those stars and likes, while a small action on your part, mean a lot to us and help to grow the show. More importantly, are you a member of the Deconstructor of Fun Slack group? If you have 5 years or more of games industry experience, go to deconstructoroffun.com/Slack and apply to join. Join the games industry best professional community filled with peers always willing to lend a hand, or subscribe to our newsletter to get all the latest insights from the Deconstructor of Fun content creators. Thanks for listening.